Let's just invite you guys. Who else have I got here? Hello everybody. How you all doing? Is it all working live? Am I on there? Oh, the light is so bright, isn't it? Who's all there then? Hello. Hello everyone. I'll just give you a couple of seconds to hop on. It's about 30-second delay, I think. How long is it so far? Is it all working all right? Oh, I got a thumbs up. Fantastic. Here you go then. Okay, you guys. What I was going to talk about today is the Noahide Laws, and how many of you have heard about it within the Christian circles? The Noahide Laws and decapitations and what have you, and what's, you know, the deal with that is. How many of you have heard of it? I'm sure there is a lot of you out there who are aware about the Noahide Laws. Let me just describe to you briefly what it is. The Noahide Laws are a Jewish Talmudic designation for 7 laws apparently given to Adam and Noah before the revelation to Moses. So it's the 7 laws of the Noahide, just like the 10 commandments, but these are 7, right? These 7 laws, as listed, are not found in the Bible, but apparently they apply to all mankind according to the Jewish Talmudic mindset. The promoters of the Noahide Laws are the Temple Institute, Sanhedrin, Chabad, Lubevitch, those kind of groups out there. Those are the promoters of this Noahide thing, all right? The reason why this has caught a lot of interest lately is because of the recent altar dedication in Israel, which happened a few months back, right? There were these leaflets going around by organisations such as the Temple Institute, who were saying about how they want to sort of proclaim the Noahide Laws to all the nations out there. Basically, 70 nations were invited to recognise Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. 70 nations, the reason why it's 70 nations is because they consider 70 nations populated the world. Right? They are considered the grandsons of Noah, if you like. It's an endeavour to unite the world together to address universal threats challenging the world today. This is why they want the universal Noahide Laws. And another thing is they want to establish some sort of like United Nations in Jerusalem, because, well, let me carry on with what I wrote down here. So they invited the Sanhedrin, they invited 70 nations from around the world to recognise the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. They wanted to unite the world together to address universal threats challenging the world today, such as ecological, environmental issues, problems like atomic weapons, terrorism, and economical issues. They think that the United Nations has failed to unite the world in any effort to cope with these challenges. They say that the UN is not based on biblical principles, therefore they're not fit to manage the world's problems as we know it. They believe that human rights actually originated in the Bible, and these principles cover all issues that relate to mankind. What is the Sanhedrin? Sanhedrin is an assembly, this is in Israel, an assembly, a religious assembly of 23 or 71 rabbis appointed to sit as a tribunal in every city in the land of Israel. It was disbanded in 425 AD. And over the centuries, there have been attempts to revive the Constitution. Hello, nice to see you too. Noahide laws are scary. So Amber, you've heard about them, eh? Okay, again, so the main promoters of the Noahide laws are the Temple Institute, the Chabad and Lubevitch organizations. Again, these are promoters of the Noahide laws. Right, now the reason why this has got a lot of attention in America is due to the fact that there's been this thing going around saying, I'll just read from the website. This is the website called Beware of the Noahide Laws .followersofyah.com. Did you catch the website, you guys? It's called Beware of the Noahide Laws all together .followersofyah.com. And a little excerpt from that website. It says, the Noahide laws are growing in popularity. They have even reached US Congress, you guys. Yep, been studying them. Right. The US Congress, hello Nikki. The US Congress officially, I'm reading what's written on the thing, on the website. The US Congress officially recognized the Noahide laws in legislation that was passed by both houses. Congress and the President of the United States, George Bush, indicated in Public Law 102-14, the 102nd Congress, that the United States of America was founded upon the 7 laws of Noah, and that these laws have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization. They also acknowledged that the 7 laws of Noah are the foundation upon which civilization stands, and that recent weakening of these principles threatened the fabric of civilized society, and that justified preoccupation in educating the citizens of the United States of America and future generations is needed. For this purpose, this public law designated 26th of March 1991 as Education Day. All right. Are you following with me so far? Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. I really wished I fixed the camera right as usual. Got the light problem going on there, haven't I? Right. So, are you following with me so far? The website here is saying that the US Congress has passed these legislations. All right? They're saying that the Noahide laws were snuck in there under our noses. And you must be wondering, well, how's this going to take effect, right? How's this actually going to come into force? They say, this is the rumours, that when martial law is enforced, the laws of the land, like the normal, governing laws that we have in America, they will default to Noahide laws, the 7 laws. And I'll just read to you briefly what those 7 laws are. The 7 laws, number 1, prohibition of idol worship, prohibition of sexual sins, adultery, homosexuality, prohibition of murder, prohibition of blasphemy to God, of stealing, and also establishing courts of law or justice, and the prohibition of eating live animals, which is really a peculiar one to say the least. I'm sorry. So those are the 7 laws of Noah, apparently passed down to him from Adam all the way through to Noah, basically. But what the Talmudic Jewish folks consider these laws to be is laws for the Gentiles or the non-Jews, right? So basically to the whole nations or the whole world out there. Okay, these are subcategories there are subcategories, right? Yeah, it's a form of Sharia law apparently, but these are the main, the headlines, if you like, right? The headlines. Okay. So, in the Jewish Talmudic mindset, according to what's been written on beware of the Noahide Laws.com and other people out there, I'll mention them later, they're saying that these 7 laws have actually been put in place in our government here in America. It's just that they're not enforced yet. And the only time they will be enforced is when martial law happens, and then they will automatically default to this set of laws. Alright, so again, it will be laws against homosexuality, adultery, idol worship, blasphemy to God, the God of the Talmudic mindset, they say Hashem, establishing courts of law and justice. And the punishment for breaking any one of these laws, apparently, again, is decapitation, is off with your head, basically. Right. Now, just stay with me, please. This is quite a lengthy topic, and I've had to, I've got several notes out here I'm going to go through. It's one step at a time. If you look up Noahide with the C and H, Noahide, it's actually a Masonic system. It's part of Freemasonry. Okay, if you just look it up, it will tell you, just give you the description. So that's something to think about. The second thing, because thing is, I've been watching the programs on this. I've seen different presentations on this whole thing, right, about the Noahide laws. And because of the severity of the laws, how sort of black and white it all is. Why has my screen got fuzziness on it? It's got, I don't know what's going on now. It's like it's got a fuzz on there. I don't know why. What I'm trying to think is how is the United States gonna enforce this upon the whole country as a whole? Because it's not just the United States. They're saying, I'm saying it generically, they're saying that the 7 Noahide laws are ultimately what all the nations of the world are going to sneak in, right? And the reason for that is because they want to target the Christians. Because the Christians who worship Jesus would fall under the category of prohibition of idol worship, because they consider Christianity as idol paganism, right? Idol worship, right? So that's the concern. So that's where they're coming from. They're saying that is the reason why the governments of the world are going to sneak in the 7 Noahide laws, because they're universal, they're applicable to all of mankind, and if you abide by these laws, you'll be basically a good citizen. But the thing is, you guys, if you noticed in my title, I forgot my own title. What did I put up there? Jewish Talmudic conspiracy to subjugate the world under the rule of a common dictatorship, or a red herring. Take a guess where I stand on this thing. I think this is a distraction. I think this is a red herring, and I think this is a distraction, a very clever distraction, and I'm going to tell you why. I've spent some time on this, researching it, investigating it, looking at different angles, listening to different reports, watching different programs on there, reading different articles to understand the mindset of this thing. Right. This particular day, this law, what is it called? Public Law 102-14, 20th of March 1991. It's basically put under a title or like a heading, because each law that goes through Congress and stuff, the two houses, they go under a heading, a sort of like a heading of what kind of law is it. You know, there's different types of categories of a law. Well, this falls under, let me get my right document out there. It falls under Education and Sharing Day. Now, Education and Sharing Day was founded actually by former President Jimmy Carter in 1978. Education and Sharing Day is an annual day of observance. This day was founded in honor of and on the 80th birthday of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, it's a mouthful, or the Rebbe, who was considered to be one of the greatest 20th century spiritual leaders, right? This man. This day honors the rabbi's commitment to improving Judaism and mankind through culture and education, especially by founding centers for culture, education, and socialization for the young Jewish people, including Chabad or Chabad houses, providing community and culture for Jewish students on university campuses. The Maimonides, or the Maimonid, the Jewish scholar, believed Gentiles will have a part to play in the world to come just by observing the Noahide Laws. So, this man, who's been commemorated under the title Education and Sharing Day, that Rabbi Schneerson dude, he urges his followers in 1983 to engage in activities to inform non-Jews about the 7 laws. Okay. Under the title, let's fucking read the comments. Under the title, or the category of commemoration, there are other laws that were passed. If you just follow with me for a minute. These are the same laws, the same category as Education and Sharing Day. National Walking Day, Hire a Veteran Week law, the law of America's Christian Heritage Week. Now, some of these laws were introduced and some of them became law. National Firefighters Day, Country Music Month, Irish American Heritage Month. All of those laws are under the same category of Education and Sharing Day. So, where are the laws enforced? Where exactly are these laws put in place? Because it says clearly that it was put in place to commemorate this old man's birthday, right? But the other side of the coin, they're telling us that this is under the guise of Education Day, that they snuck it in without us knowing. They've done it right beneath us, basically, like they've hoodwinked people into believing it's just an education day, but really it's really something else. How is the world gonna look? Think about this. Just stay with me for a minute. Let's think this through logically for a minute. The world, largely, including America, is largely secular. It's largely anti-God. It's very, very promiscuous. It's immoral, sexually immoral world that we live in, right? It's openly, anything's game nowadays, right? It's largely pagan. It's full of idols, this world, all the nations. And it largely agrees to abortion anyway. The world is largely a cynical world out there, largely secular. So how are they going to go to martial law by default and enforce the 7 Noahide laws. How exactly is it going to happen? It doesn't sound realistic, does it? Unless there's going to be an open civil war in all nations, no one is going to allow. Most of the nations of the world are democratic, right? Yeah. The democratic nations, how are they going to just let this thing slip in? I do think there's a lot of fear-mongering and a lot of false information going around regarding the Noahide laws, you guys. Because when you look at it from all angles, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. I think it's a red herring. You've got to, that's the confusing side of it all. They're saying that they're going to enforce 7 laws upon a world that is anti-God, sexually immoral, pagan, full of idols, agrees to abortion. They're cynical and they mock everything related to God. So how are they going to do it? You see, it's not just Christian focus. You're talking about the homosexuals as well. On one hand, America promotes liberty, right? It promotes lewdness. It promotes fornication. It promotes lawlessness. It promotes it. And on the other hand, they're saying, no, really, they believe in the 7 Noahide laws. When really it's just, it shoots them in the foot. It's counterproductive. For it to be a law in the US Congress, for it to be a law, a set of laws, very complicated, very, very intricate, very detailed set of laws, they have to fall under some sort of category. The only problem with this is that this all falls under a man's holiday, his birthday. They're telling us that they snuck it in. They're telling us that this is what they've done. But it doesn't say that anywhere, does it? I need to change the light. Let me see if I can turn the blinds over. Is that better? Oh no, it doesn't make any difference. Alright, so I think this ultimately, because how will the world, if these 7 Noahide laws are mandated world over, how would they get everyone to abide by these 7 laws? Because not only will they be killing the Christians, they're going to be killing everyone. Ain't nobody going to be left. Ain't nobody going to be left, you guys. Under the same category, think about it. National Walking Day. National Walking Day. Hire a Veteran Week. America's Christian Heritage Week. National Firefighters Day. Country Music Month. Irish American Heritage Month. These laws are all passed under the same category as Education Day. They're the same thing. And another thing, I heard somebody, and I'll talk about her in a little bit. There was one person that I was listening to that got me investigating it all, and it's Dr. Lorraine. Oh, what's her name again? Dr. Lorraine Day. She was on Israeli News Live show. They got her on the show, and she was giving an interview on it, right? I was listening to her, and I was like, something just wasn't sitting with me right, because there's just so many loopholes in this thing. She's saying in a very overly sensationalist manner, very dramatic. She's saying that the Noahide laws were passed under unanimous consent. She said they were passed without objection. The only problem with that is, I went and looked on that US Congress website where it gives you the breakdown of these laws that are passed. Under unanimous consent and under passed without objection are these other laws, the ones that I just read out to you. Hire a Veteran Week, America's Christian Heritage Week, National Firefighters Day, Country Music Month, Irish American Heritage Month. These were also passed without unanimous consent. You see, it's the same thing. The Education and Sharing Day doesn't stand out like it's anything peculiar. It really blends in with the rest of all the holidays that are under commemoration thing. let me read that thing now for a minute. Okay. Education and Sharing Day is marked by events and parades, but it's basically to honour this man. Just like, you know, we've got national holidays for, what's his name? You know, you guys, Martin Luther Jr. and that. It's just another one of those days. It's not, they're not 7 Noahide laws that have been snuck in. I don't believe it. I don't think it's right because it doesn't add up. The dot to dot is like, what are you talking about? Where are those laws? Where are they legislation hidden? Where is it? Now, there are paragraphs where former presidents have given speeches about it, about commemorating this man and giving honour to this guy, this Rabbi Hutchinson. There are things written about him that he was, you know, somebody to be remembered and honoured, right? But this Public Law 10214, if you guys look it up, you know what I'm talking about. I can't use my internet right now because the internet's cut off and it's messing up right now, but I would have just posted it down at the bottom. The thing is, they're saying that this whole thing about it being snuck in, you know, we're really under the Noahide law. We're not under the Noahide laws, you guys. It's not there. It's not there. Now, in Israel, in Jerusalem, right, the Temple Institute people, the Chabad folks, the Lubevitch, whatever, around the world, they do want it. Their mission is, of course, to spread their version of the gospel of the 7 laws to all the nations. They've been doing that since, I don't know, when was it? I'll read it down now. They've been around for a long time, you guys, a really long time. Oh, where did I put it? I've got so many bits of papers here. Did I read that one? I read that one. Yeah, it's been around for a long time, you know. And this is another thing. If America is setting people up for the Noahide laws, recently there was a country, Brunei. Have any of you heard? I think it was in our group, in Crossword, where we had a link. Someone put a link up about the nation of Brunei. It's a kingdom, it's a monarchy over there. But in Brunei, an Islamic nation, a law went into effect that will punish adultery and homosexual sex with death by stoning, you guys. And it's based upon Sharia law. It's basically a new penal code that will enforce punishment by death to anyone found guilty of these offences. The Sultan says he does not expect other people to accept or agree with these laws, but that it would suffice if they just respect the nation in the same way that it also respects them. The country of Brunei has no plans to halt the law amid international pressure. Brunei Darul Islam is a sovereign Islamic and fully independent country, and like all other independent countries, enforces its own rule of law. But guess what, you guys? There was really strong opposition against these laws that were passed in Brunei, right? The death by stoning of people who were found guilty of adultery and homosexuality. There was strong criticism, and it came from the United States. You see, if they really believe in the Noahide laws, they're speaking with a double-forked tongue, aren't they? The USA said the laws in Brunei are inconsistent with international human rights obligations. All the Western nations, you guys, they're all for human rights. They're all for human rights, right? Human rights and bloody human rights. This, it all started with the EU. This is what they're concerned about. They want human rights for all people, right? Homosexuals, all of them, whatever religion, they want human rights. They've gone blatantly against the country of Brunei in a really strong stance, and they've said governments have an obligation to ensure that all people, including the LGBT community, should be able to freely enjoy the universal human rights and fundamental freedoms to which they are entitled. We strongly oppose human rights violations and abuses against the LGBT persons, including violence, criminalization of LGBT status or conduct. Joe Biden also says he's a paedophile anyway. Do you guys believe that Joe Biden's a paedophile? Hypocrite. He's such a hypocrite. He opposed Brunei as well. He said the stoning of people to death for homosexuality or adultery is appalling and immoral. Every person on earth is entitled to be treated with dignity and to live without fear. There is no excuse, not culture, not tradition, for this kind of hate, and inhumanity. The government of Austria, the Chancellor, opposed it. The Senator of Australia opposed it. The UK Secretary of State for International Development opposes this law in Brunei. New Zealand's former Prime Minister also opposes it. Celebrities George Clooney, Richard Branson, Jamie Lee Curtis, they all oppose this really strict law in Brunei that is just like the Noahide, because in the Noahide it says the prohibition of sexual sins, adultery, homosexuality, right? So there you've got a nation, an Islamic nation, that has just gone ahead and done one of these laws, the Islamic style. And look, lo and behold, all the West is condemning it. They're condemning it. You know, it's just, it doesn't hold any water when you think about it, when you think it through thoroughly. It's all online. Everyone has access to it. All you've got to do is go online and just look up US Congress, or in fact put in that law. I think most people know about it. Public Law 102-14. And under the heading of commemorations, you see on the right hand side of the screen, if you click on commemorations, because that's what it falls under, that category, the Education and Sharing Day, it falls under that category of commemorations. And under that commemorations category, a whole load of other laws passed. Random, just totally random holidays that are passed under there. Nowhere does it talk about Noahide 7 laws, these will be enforced. You know, it's just no government in the world will allow it. Not like this, not just snuck in like that. No one does it. And the fact that they're saying, the people on the Israeli news channel, Israeli News Live channel, Dr. Lorraine Day, the way she said it was that her words were, it was passed under unanimous consent. It was passed without objection. But then so were the other laws. All these other laws are written down, and I circled the ones that were passed the same way, the way Education and Sharing Day was passed. And those laws are Hire a Veteran Week, National Firefighters Day, Country Music Month, Irish American. So are we to therefore look at these laws now and think that there's something conspicuous about them as well, you know? Is there a threat in National Firefighters Day? Is there potential secretive set of laws that are snuck in under that? Because we'd have to say that, wouldn't we? We'd have to say that same rule applies to all the other laws, because they're under the same category. Just they were passed without unanimous consent. You know. I think this is why I was putting this topic off for a while, because I thought a lot of people really believe the Noahide is a big deal in America and it's going to come, and I think I'm the only one saying it ain't a problem. I really don't think it's going to be a problem. The Noahide laws, they're not even laws in Israel, you guys. You'd think that, you know, of all the places in the world, At least there'd be law in Israel, but they're not. They're not law in Israel. How would the 7 laws apply? What would be the method of application? The world is secular, the world is pagan, it's immoral, and yet they're saying, on the one hand, they're promoting sexual promiscuity, they're promoting murder by, the death of babies. They promote animal cruelty, even though they say human rights and animal rights and all that. They're promoters of utter lawlessness, but yet really they believe in the 7 Noahide laws. It's just that I think it's a total misunderstanding, a really, really big misunderstanding, which is why I'm saying it's basically it's basically a red herring. I think it's a red herring. The guillotines. I looked up guillotines. Have you heard? Did anyone hear about these 30,000 guillotines in America? The laws are very contrary to view of governments worldwide. So these guillotines, the 30,000 guillotines, I went in and looked up where's this number come from, the 30,000 guillotines, right? I am concerned about that. Don't get me wrong, I'm concerned that we've got guillotines everywhere. So I found out that it was Georgia, the state of Georgia in America requested 30,000 guillotines as a way of a more humane way to terminate life, as well as executions for people who are on death row. Another thing with the guillotines is it's an instant death with guillotines. They say it's a more humane way of killing someone on death row as opposed to electrocution, opposed to, the hanging and all that stuff. They say guillotine is a quicker way of death. It's quicker and it's just, people don't feel the pain, right? It's still disgusting, it's still despicable, it's still horrible to even think of it that way. So the 30,000 guillotine requested is documented, is online somewhere. It's one of those government websites for Georgia. The state of Georgia, it was that state that actually requested the 30,000 guillotines as a way of providing a more humane way of terminating a life for prisoners who are on death row, together with electrocution. So that seems to be why they requested 30,000 guillotines. That seems to be the reason why. So far, the impression that I'm getting at is that this is making me feel like everything is turning very anti-Israel, because when you think about this, I read that. I'm just going to put the ones aside that I've already read. I heard that Israel has put in a new set of laws as well. And one of these news outlets was saying that Israel has also snuck in the Noahide laws as well. And I was Googling it everywhere, trying to get some information on this, but I can't see it anywhere. What I did come across is this, Israel's new laws. And then I wrote beside it, they're not Noahide. I wrote this down from one of the articles, it's a news article. Israel's hugely controversial nation-state law. Some say it's a defining moment in Israeli history, while some say it's open apartheid. July last year, 2018, Israel passed a controversial new nation-state law last week, it says in July last year. Number 1, it states that the right to exercise national self-determination in Israel is unique to the Jewish people. Number 2, Hebrew will be Israel's official language and no longer Arabic, which is now been downgraded as a language which is spoken by both Arabs and Israelis. Number 3, it establishes Jewish settlement as a national value and mandates that the state will labor to encourage and promote its establishment and development. So the new law, the new nation state laws that were enacted in Israel, is all about borders, Israel's borders and Israel's identity as a nation, as a Jewish nation. That's all it's about, you guys. It's got nothing to do with the Noahide laws. These, like, if you start reading the secular news outlets and not these religious news outlets, I'm not being funny, but a lot of them are really dramatic. They're over-sensationalized stuff. This is, I haven't got, what's the link? Vox. On Vox.com, the article, I got it from there. Vox.com. So that's Israel's new laws. It's not Noahide. It's just about their borders, their identity as a Jewish nation. Because don't forget, they're surrounded by hostile nations that want to get rid of them, right? That's why they're putting these laws into effect. They're trying to make it safer, securer. I mean, you would think in Israel, Hebrew would be the national language. No, but they're being appeasing for so long that Arabic was the national language. All they've done is just change it to Hebrew. That's all it is, you know. Like in France, you'd think French is the national language of France. That's all Israel's done. They've just changed it from Arabic to Hebrew. That's one of the changes they've made. Okay. What else was I going to say? The Talmud, right. The 7 Noahide laws are not anywhere close to being legalized in Israel, let alone the USA, you guys. It's ridiculous to think that it's going to be enforced in America. And it's Talmudic, it's not even biblical laws. They're not even legal in Israel yet. The Chabad, the Lubevitch have obviously not campaigned hard enough, have they? There was a report up there by a chap called Ted Gunderson, a retired FBI agent, and he said that he was familiar with 800 prison camps in America. There's a law. This is the law. It's called HB 1274, which authorizes the state of Georgia to execute citizens by guillotine as well as electrocution, as organ donors would have option before death. So those people who are on death row, if they've agreed to have their organs donated after death, those would be the ones who would opt for decapitation as opposed to electrocution, because it preserves the organs. That's why they wanted to have that option of having the guillotines, apparently, according to what's written under that law, HB 1274. Now, Dr. Lorraine Day, she says that the Noahide laws were passed under unanimous consent by 4 congressmen, Public Law 102-14, and I just spoke about that. Under Education Day, commemorating this man's birthday. Just think about commemorating this man's birthday under the commemoration subheading. How is that whole set of Noahide commandment laws snuck in? You know, it doesn't make sense, does it? You know what I'm saying? Other holidays or commemoration holidays have also been legalized under unanimous consent. So it's not just that one. There are many other laws that were passed under unanimous consent. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't say anything. It's not proof for anything. There's no proof at all that Noahide laws are legalized. They've been received in America, Congress. There's no proof for it. There's no proof apart from this one lady who was the wife of a former US Congress. That's the only proof that we've got. It's not even proof. It's just somebody saying it. It's not actual proof, is it? This is why it's so important to check every single thing out there before we start, you know, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's crazy. What I did want to say is that I saw a correlation between how two particular religions use their texts to do bad things. The Quran and the Hadith, the Sharia, and then decapitations, beheading. Alright, so you've got the Quran, Hadith, Sharia, decapitations. On this side, you've got the Torah, the Talmud, the Noahide, and then decapitations. But we already got this movement happening right now, you guys. It's already going on. If you just look over there in the Middle East, the nations that are surrounding Israel right now, no one's paying attention. The only way that this would benefit people is for those people who have the mindset that Jerusalem is the harlot. Let me just look. Beheading, decapitations, I mean, the religion that is enforcing it is Islam right now. You know, it's this thing that we need to worry about, not about this something which is so conspicuous. You know, the Noahide folks, they've never done decapitations in history, never ever done it. They've never done beheadings before. What makes us think they're going to do it now? Who on earth is going to allow it? The whole world will be in an uproar against this, including the homosexuals, the LGBT community. It's just, it don't make any sense. It's just a total diversion, distraction away from what's really going on. And I really urge people to wake up and smell the coffee. Because I keep hearing this, the Noahide this, the Noahide that. You know, people going to Israel interviewing these, I don't know, these weird rabbis in some place. And they're going, oh yes, we want to, you know, tell the Gentiles of the world to believe in the 7 laws of Noahide. Yeah, that's all right. You know, if that's what you want to believe, it's not going to happen. Think about it. All the democracies in the West, they're never going to succumb to the 7 Noahide laws. It's just ridiculous. It ain't going to happen. They're very anti-God. The West is it's very secular. It's moving more anti-God, the West. The climate, if you just smell the coffee for a minute in the West, they don't give 2 hoots about God. Do you think suddenly they're going to go, yeah, we believe in this one God, and anyone who does idolatry, we're going to kill them and decapitate? No, they're not going to do it. I believe there's a reason why the Western nations are going to be preserved until the end times. Remember, you guys, this all falls under it's a category. It's like, where do you stand on this issue about who the harlot is? A lot of the people who believe the 7 laws of the Noahide are going to come in are the same people who think that Jerusalem is the harlot. And I'm telling you, there's not anything more ludicrous and more ridiculous than that. Jerusalem is not the harlot. And I will do another video on this because it's a lengthy topic. I think this is the real anti-Semitism right now. This is the real replacement theology going on right now. That people will come against the land of God. This is God's land, not the Jews' land. It doesn't belong to any person or any particular group of people or any group of ethnicity. This belongs to God. You know, it's God's land. And don't forget all the scriptures that speak about this. What God is going to do to those nations that divide up his land and scattered his people amongst the nations. My next topic after this is going to be on anti-Semitism because it's related to the 7 Noahide laws. And I'm really worried, I'm really concerned about it. I see what's going on, especially in America, with the fever of this Noahide stuff going on. You know, it's so hyped up. It's such a hype right now. It's ridiculous. And there's no foundation for it. The 7 Noahide laws, they're not law in Congress. They're not law. It's only an education sharing day, as well as all these other little holidays that were passed, unanimously consented. You know? It's legally, beheading, decapitation, do you know it's legal in Saudi Arabia? It also remains a legal method of execution in Qatar and Yemen. Militant Islam has used this method of beheading by ISIS, Tawhid and Jihad groups. Beheading was the normal method of executing the death penalty. under classical Islamic law, together with hanging. Majority of decapitations in Saudi Arabia are public, usually during mass crowds and gatherings, but strictly prohibited. They strictly prohibit photographs or recordings. It's like, so we've got this thing going on there, which is similar to the Noahide laws, you could say. It's just that, you know, it's not happening in the West, and I'll say that again, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why certain things have been preserved in the West. And I believe the West, a lot of the Western nations are going to be resisting the Antichrist in the end times. God will not allow this one Antichrist dude to control the whole world. He won't allow it. He always has a remnant. And I believe he's going to raise up certain nations at the end times to resist him. This, I don't mean to just sound really like anti-Dr. Lorraine Day, but I think she's really dangerous. This is what she says on her blogs and in her writings. I think she's really, really anti-Semite. The Jews' secret way to murder Christians is by beheading. And most Christians don't even know these laws have passed by the United States government. I'd like to ask Dr. Lorraine Day, where are they passed? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? And then she'll say, oh, they were snuck in. They put them in there without anyone realizing it, you know, unanimous consent. And I'd say, well, these other laws were passed in pretty much without much hoo-ha about it, you know, unanimous consent, without any opposition. They were snuck in also. But it's called Education Sharing Day. That's the day. It's a commemoration day. Just like Martin Luther Jr. Day. It's a commemoration day. You know, how democracy works in nations. You can't just make a national holiday into a set of bloody laws suddenly. You just can't do it. It's not possible. It's ridiculous. And people know how government works. Her eschatology views, this is what she thinks about eschatology. She thinks the first beast, which is the Antichrist, is international Jewry, the Jewish people. The second beast, or the false prophet, the Bible says, she thinks is the worldwide apostate Christianity. She says Catholicism is Judaism dressed up in Christian clothes. I totally disagree with that. She says Jewish Zionism is the final beast and Christian Zionism is the second beast. The first beast is actually a person and the second beast is also a person. So I don't know how she can categorize a whole group of people to be Antichrist. It just don't make sense. She says the Holocaust is the centerpiece of the New World Order. She doesn't have a healthy understanding of the Bible. I don't know where she gets it from. What she's teaching is also what the Islamic preachers teach as well. How can they both have the same mentality? Think about it, you guys. You know, they're both, her and the Muslims, or let's say the fundamentalists, they both hold the same view. They say the Jew is the problem and the Christian is the problem. And she's saying the same thing. That's the real anti-Semitism, which is going to lead me to my next topic, and I'll bring that up in the next video. Let me see if I covered everything I wanted to cover on this thing here. Yeah. You know, it doesn't make sense at all. All our governments, we know that they're openly involved in paedophilia, sex cult rings, right? We know it, yeah? A lot of us out there know this. A lot of these leaders, including the Catholic Church, including Arabia and their princes and their kings, we know that they're involved in this worldwide sex cult ring, paedophilia. But apparently we're to believe that they all believe in the 7 Noahide Laws. That's counterproductive for them, isn't it? Because they would be beheaded too. It's just total, it's total confusion, you guys. It's total confusion. When Muhammad beheaded 600 to 700 Muslims, that whole thing was called the Battle of the Trenches. But everyone seems to forget that that took place. Beheading is still going on today, but no, we're worried about the Noahide laws. Until the Noahide laws are here and in place, in fact, I'd worry about it then. Right now, I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't worry about it. I'd worry about what is going on right now, and I would worry about who is doing beheadings right now. And I don't know what the big deal is. Our people are worried about beheading. I mean, why? You know, we should be rejoicing to know that we possibly could die for the name of Christ Jesus. You know, give him glory, because weren't the apostles all like martyred and killed and stuff for his namesake? We know what the end times is going to bring. The end times is going to be a day of darkness and gloom. Total day of darkness and gloom. But there will be light in the darkness. Our light needs to shine bright, because when it gets really dark, people are going to need to see. They're going to need to see the truth. And we're going to have to be so careful with our discernment to know truth from error. Be very quick to check out sources, to check out these people. What is it they really believe? What's the rest of their doctrine? What's their theology like? You know, to check it all out. I'm telling you, I was surprised to find out about all these other holidays just under these the Education Day, Firefighters Day, under the same category. You know, we just got to be careful. You know. Rovlin is true, Sonia. They are there. They're doing videos on this one I posted a few weeks ago. By now you see TV. Oh, I'll check it out. I'll check it out for sure, definitely. Please be careful, you guys. I think now more than ever, we really need to ask the Lord for discernment and compare it to the Bible. You know, compare everything to this thing here. Compare it to here. But as for that Dr. Lorraine Day, man, she's a big time anti-Semite. You know, there's a purpose why. I'll save it for my next video, because it's another topic. I'll save it. I'm going to talk about it. Give me a couple of minutes and I'll do it today. I'll just come on and talk about it now. Anyway, that was my take on the Noahide laws. I think it's a red herring, and I don't think it's anything to worry about right now. I think it's a huge distraction, and there's a lot of hype going on out there. It's a lot of fear going on out there. Let's pray and seek the Lord, and I'll catch up with you guys shortly. Okay? Thank you for your time.